What if the key to healing, connection, and even purpose in life could be found in the eyes of an animal? Today's guest has built an entire movement around that very idea. Jackie Ducci is the visionary behind the Human Animal Alliance, an organization dedicated to bridging the gap between humans and animals in profound and life changing ways. From advocacy to hands on initiatives, Jackie and her team are proving just how powerful the bond between species can be. With a background in business and talent acquisition, Jackie's path to the equine world might not have been predictable, but it was absolutely meant to be. Over the past few years, she has grown HAA into a force that is reshaping the way we think about animal assisted healing and the intuitive connection between humans and animals. In today's conversation, we'll talk about the incredible work she's doing, the real life stories that fuel her passion, and what's next for the Human Animal Alliance. Plus, we'll explore how you can strengthen your own connection with animals in a way that brings greater meaning to your life. So, whether you're a horse lover, an animal advocate, or just someone who believes in the magic of human animal relationships, you're in for a powerful conversation. Let's welcome back to the backyard horse enthusiast, the incredible Jackie Ducci. Hey, Jackie, welcome to the backyard horse enthusiast again.
Hey
It's been,
there.
oh my gosh, it's been 3 years. And I know when we did our interview 3 years ago, your organization was just in the infant kind of stages. And here you are 3 years later, which is why I wanted to reach out and get an update on all the amazing things that are happening for you and this organization, Human Animal Alliance. My goodness, you've been a busy girl along with your showing in
Yes,
dressage.
it's a
Oh
lot
my
going on.
gosh. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, I so appreciate you having me back. I loved our first conversation, and it's so funny to me, like 3 years went by and it feels like such a long time, but also just went by like nothing. So a lot has happened.
So, with that being said, let's dive in and we'll start with my very first question. And that is reflecting on the last few years, what has been the most rewarding moment or breakthrough with the Human Animal Alliance that made you step back and say, wow, this is exactly why I started this?
That is a great question. So we had a moment where, so first of all, we raise money to grant it to other organizations. We don't directly run programming. We're sort of like a private foundation. So we
Okay.
support other charities. And so we're not like boots on the ground so much, we don't always know when we grant the money, like the details of people's stories and things like that. But one of our grantee organizations shared a testimonial letter with us from one of the young women who was in their program. So she had gotten exposure to animal assisted therapy because of our grant. And she said that she had been through traditional therapy for years and years and just had made such minimal progress, was really just sort of losing hope. And then when she got into this equine assisted therapy program, it was like night and day. And within like a year, all of a sudden, she felt like her whole world turned around. And to me, that like I get chills even telling the story now. I don't even know this human being, but that to me, when I heard that, I was like, this is why we do what we do, because it's a perfect example. And there are so many more people out there. It's just the animals are magic. And if we can help
Oh,
people experience that, it's what we're here to do.
yes. And that as a certified equine Gestalt practitioner,
Mhm.
I get that and understand that for many traditional talk therapy, and I'm not poo-pooing that, it has its place. But if a client is, going on 5, 10 years and they're still meeting with their therapist once a year, after they work with a horse,
Mhm.
every piece of work is done
Yeah.
typically. It is finished. It is literally buried in the sand. You don't forget the memory,
Mhm.
ever, but it doesn't have this, it doesn't have the fire and the fuel behind it any longer. And that's what animals do, whether it's dog, horse, donkey,
Hmm.
goat, it whatever. Horses are just such in the moment creatures
It's
that
like they can touch us in ways that people can't. I always say that. You know,
mm,
they have a way of getting through or helping us see things that people can't. And I think that's what's so amazing.
that's right. And they're so authentic and they're so they need you to be really honest. So if you're not congruent in what's coming out of your mouth versus what you
Mhm.
truly believe about yourself, they're going to flag you. They're going to be like, she's a liar, liar,
Yeah.
liar, 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 right? So then
Yeah.
that forces that person to stop and really like, oh my gosh. So what is that belief? Where is that coming from? So
Right.
yes, we call them BS detectors in
Yeah,
our
that's
work.
usually what they are. Yeah.
They're like, you just said that, but my horse just said no. What's
Yeah.
up with that? And
Right.
it's wonderful. They're like, okay, I can't escape it. I'm going to be really honest and authentic here. And it's healing to be that and not be
Yeah.
judged. Horses don't judge you. They're so
Right.
forgiving.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So what is one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about the human animal bond? And how does HAA work to change that narrative?
Hmm. I think, I don't know that there are misconceptions, but I think people don't really understand what it means in general or how powerful it is in general.
Right.
Like, I don't know, it's a term that's thrown around a lot, like human animal bond. But what is that really? And I think just like we're talking about, it's like when people have a life-changing experience, you realize how much deeper it is. Like we're not just talking about, oh, I love my dog. They really can change our lives. It's so funny. As I'm telling you this, my little French bulldog is crying at me. Trying to sit
Bring him
up.
up, put him on your lap.
Oh my gosh, here she is.
Oh, hello, baby. She says, I want to be in the interview, Mom. You
He's
step
like,
aside.
he's like, yes, mom, everything you just said is true.
Who is this beautiful darling?
This is Sadie. I don't know if you can see her. She's
Hi,
having a
Sadie. I can. Oh, look at your
little
face.
bit of an eye issue, so if her eyes are closed, that's why. But
Oh,
anyway, she's my little sweetheart. But yeah, I think that would be the biggest thing is just how powerful and life-changing and even life-saving human animal connection can really be. And that is a true thing. So, you know, we obviously do a lot with grant making, but I'm also starting to get more involved in, you know, advocacy and just being out there speaking on some of these topics and raising awareness around, you know, the more we can incorporate animals into our lives, the better off we are.
without a doubt, without a doubt. And I, as an equine gestaltist, thank you for making this your mission. I
Mhm.
appreciate that as well because you are correct. I hear it all. What do you mean you're an equine gestaltist? And then you got to get into the whole,
Explain the whole thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds interesting. It's like you have to experience it to
Yep.
understand it. It is life changing, truly life
Absolutely.
changing and life saving.
Yes.
Many people feel that they have a deep connection with animals, but they don't always know how to use that connection in meaningful ways.
Hmm.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to incorporate animals into their personal healing or professional work?
Hmm. I mean, I think just exposure, you know, obviously if you're going to do it professionally, like you need to go through certifications, but I think there's no greater way to learn than just being around it. Like, I think, you know, in your line of work, it's like you must have observed so many different sessions and really understood what it was about before you started doing it yourself. So,
Oh my
yeah, I would think that that would be incredibly important if you're thinking about it professionally. Personally, I mean, I just feel like there are so many great resources out there, and it's just about asking and investigating. Um, I mean, I'll share this too. Like, I occasionally go to therapy myself, just traditional therapy. And it's like when her dog is there, like, oh, I'm going to have just a great session today. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know, they bring something incredible in any situation. So just, I encourage people to seek it out wherever they can.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you have had a career spanning multiple industries,
Mhm.
from business and recruiting to animal advocacy.
Mhm.
What lessons from your previous work have helped shape your leadership at the
Mhm.
Human Animal Alliance?
Wow. When I got into this, I was like, oh, I've run an organization before. Like, it'll be fine. Everything will just translate. And it was a completely different challenge, starting and running a nonprofit. It's a whole different animal, pun not intended. Um, yeah. So, I mean, certain skills, translated, obviously, just management and things like that. But there was so much to learn, and I'm still learning every day. But I think, let's see, I think just general like organization and leadership, like, I take the decisions that we make around our grant making so seriously. And it's funny. So I used to work in recruiting, and a lot of what we did was interviewing and just really like getting deep with people. And I feel like we're kind of doing the same thing now with these grantee organizations. Like they apply for funding, but they're not just going to get a check. Obviously, we have site visits, we have multiple interviews, we have board votes, we scrutinize their financials. Like there's so many aspects that go into deciding where the funding is going to go. So we say all the time, we feel like we're back, like recruiting hats on, really getting to know these people in these groups before decisions are made. So I'm glad I have that background because it is helping.
Absolutely. And so imperative when you're asking other people, you're raising monies to help people. You want to make sure they're being targeted to the right people and being used for the proper.
100%. And one of the things we tell our donors is, I privately fund HAA the overhead so that every dollar that we raise truly goes out in a grant. So, and I love telling people that because they can trust if they donate to us, literally every single dollar is impacting a life, and that's huge. So then I even feel more responsible, knowing that the organizations that we choose to receive it, like we have the trust of our donor base, and I don't take it
Sure.
lightly. Yeah.
Sure. You're not like, yeah, and so our CEOs, taking in 90% of what we
Oh my God.
it's going for administrative costs, of
Or you never know.
course.
It's just a mystery, when you give to a lot of these charities. So that's
Yes.
not us.
Yeah, wow. That's beautiful, Jackie, that you do that. And I get it. A lot of the work that I do, I donate
Mm,
because it's not, for me, it's about changing the world one person at a time as far as bringing awareness to them and healing, and it
mhm,
spreads. And I feel like I was drawn and called to do this work. So I never let cost. If people want to do like literally, if you have $10 and you want to send it to pay for your work
mhm.
that you've received, that's fine. But if you don't, I don't want that to ever be a barrier. And it's
Yeah,
just
for
not
sure.
going to be.
Yeah, it's
That's why I
amazing.
do the YouTube channel, because this is where I'm growing this so that it can be the platform and what sustains that other really, really, really important work that I'm doing. So I think that's beautiful. Basically, you're donating your time, your expertise,
Mhm.
all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
But
you for that.
thank you too. I mean, we believe in this. We know it's real. And I
Mhm.
think when it's coming from a place of just like such a deep belief that it's an amazing thing for so many people, it makes you want to do everything you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How do you see the role of animals evolving in therapeutic and wellness spaces over the next decade? Are there any exciting new developments that you think will change the way we view animal assisted therapy and healing?
That's funny. That might actually be a better question for you than me since you're closer to it than I
I
am.
I know.
But you could probably answer better than me. But no, I mean, I would just hope with time, like there's more awareness around these things. Like I said earlier, it's like I think that it's a vastly like understudied area. And, there's this anecdotal stuff that you hear like about the mental and physical benefits that animals give us, but it's like, who's really diving deep and like understanding the depth of this? And I think the more that that's done and the more awareness there is out there, the more demand there will be for these programs and, more understanding and everything will snowball. So in my lifetime, that's what I would love to see is just, I don't know, I guess the whole concept of animal assisted therapy being more mainstream and maybe the first thing that people turn to as opposed to, a talk therapist or whatever.
Right, right. And I mean, I'll be honest, I might come across as a stalker or troller or a troll, but I will find channels, channels that are doing therapy, and I'll make sure that I comment and talk
Mhm.
about
Mhm.
equine assisted healing work,
Yeah.
just to get it out there. And, it can't hurt. We have to do our part to spread the word, and
Mhm.
that's what makes this platform what it is, for sharing with the public, people like you, to
Mm.
bring more awareness. And I think
Yeah.
I've interviewed a lot of gestaltists,
Mhm.
so we're getting there, Jackie. We just have to keep keep at
Yeah.
it.
I think too, it's like the people that have been through the programs who have found it life-changing, and maybe there's aspects of their stories they're comfortable sharing or not, but the more people are out there talking about it from a personal standpoint, that is what resonates. That will bring other people to be more open to it or trying it or recommending it. So I think it's just people getting comfortable kind of sharing their experience too would be really powerful.
Of course. And it wasn't that long ago that, mental illness or depression or any of those things were so heavily stigmatized,
Yes.
right? You
Yes.
didn't want to share that.
Right.
So, we had to get over that hurdle. And now here we are in the next one.
Yeah.
But we openly discuss it and have conversations about it. And you're right, we share those powerful stories, and more people will want to be on board with this. I know that, I'm in the alignable community, right? And I make sure that I go to the connect groups and that,
Mhm.
and then we end up zooming, doing sidebar meetings. And now these therapists and coaches are reaching out to me because they know I've taken my client this far, and this
Mhm.
client needs
Yep.
this.
Yep.
If you're loving this content, a quick like and subscribe will really help the channel. Doesn't cost you anything, and it means the world to me. Thanks for being here,
Yeah, that's
and we're
beautiful.
willing to try. And
Mhm. Love it.
can, can you share a particularly powerful success story from someone who has been impacted by HAA's mission? Do you have
Oh,
one?
I can tell you from the perspective of a grantee. So
Okay.
one of my favorite grants that we did was they're so cool. They're actually a fox rescue slash sanctuary in South Florida. So she rescues foxes from the fur trade, which is still a real thing in the United States, which was shocking to me. They have these foxes on these fur farms and they're horrifically
What?
abused. It's terrible. And it's legal. Still, I don't know how. But anyway, she's on this whole like life mission campaign to end this horrible treatment of these foxes. But anyway, so she has several that she's rescued, but she created an animal assisted therapy program using the foxes, which was fascinating to me because you've heard of horses and dogs and all the normal things, but never a fox. And I think the reason it's been so successful is because these foxes have such a traumatic history themselves that then when she brings in, women from the women's shelter, abused children, whomever, they have this really deep connection because she shares the story of what the foxes have been through, and these people know that they're not alone. And I just fell in love with this program when she told me about it. So she was having sessions like here and there with the foxes, but there wasn't a lot of space. And long story short, our grant enabled her to create a space on the property for private therapy sessions. So now they really have like licensed counselors coming in, and the kids feel they can talk openly because there's four walls around them. And it just took her already amazing program to a different level, which felt great for us. It was wonderful. One of my favorite
Wow.
projects.
After Fox, I mean, equine assisted, that's nothing, nothing.
Right.
Fox is like, whoa, I think you can connect with a spider or a
Yeah.
snake. I know that sounds crazy, but one summer I had a jumping spider on my chaise lounge because I
Uh-huh.
lived on a lake, and everybody and I that spider and me literally became bonded. I am not, I
Right.
know I sound crazy, but I swear to God, that spider helped me get over my fear of insects and
Yeah.
and spiders. And I would go down to my beach and I'd sit on my chaise lounge and my daughters would come down and they'd go, "Can you get your spider off my chair?" And I'd go over and I'd get my spider, put it in my hand, put it on my
Oh,
chair.
wow.
I am not kidding you. And my
Wow.
daughters refer to that as my spider.
Wow. That's really neat. Yeah. And that's a truly wild animal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and these foxes are kind of the same thing. Like I went and actually met them because I was curious myself before we did the grant, and it was such a different thing. Like for me, being so used to being around domesticated animals, um, these are truly wild animals, even though they live, sort of domestic now. They have their own mannerisms and their way of like assessing you that's different than like a dog or a cat or a horse would. And it was just one of the neatest things I've ever done. I loved the whole experience. So I can only imagine doing therapy with them would be especially powerful. So
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
yeah.
I want to go there.
Yeah, they're
I-
amazing.
I'm planning a trip out to Florida, I think, this winter to visit
Yeah.
a cousin. I have a cousin who lives in Wellington, so
Oh, wow. Okay. You have to let me
I,
know when you're here.
I will definitely. So
Yeah.
for those who might not fully understand the depth of animal intuition,
Hmm.
what's one moment in your own life when an animal truly spoke to you in a way that changed everything?
Oh my gosh, so many different times in my life. But I went through a health scare back in 2017 or 2018. It turned out to be Lyme disease, but I didn't know that at the time. I just knew something was very wrong and did not feel like myself at all. And it was like one day I was fine and the next day I wasn't. And I remember my dogs at the time, and one of them was older. Um, it was like they just knew. Like I was sitting there like something's not right, and they were so clingy and so just um I don't know, like attached or like protective in a way that was amplified. And
Hmm.
so it was one of those things where it like taught me to trust my own instincts a little bit more. Like I know what I'm feeling, but they're also telling me don't ignore this. They're not feeling this out of nowhere. And it really kind of gave me a little extra push to advocate for myself with the doctors and all that. And thank God, because had I not gotten the diagnosis and been treated quickly, I don't really know where I would be. I mean, it still took a year to get through all of that and feel like myself. So the longer you let it go, I can't imagine. But
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were
There are
incredible during that time.
there are people that are 10 years of dealing with this.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah.
it's like long COVID, it's long Lyme disease,
Right.
right? And your
Right.
dogs do know. They'll even, like you said, a little more clingy. You'll catch them staring at you in an odd
Mm.
way. When I
Yeah.
catch my dog doing that, I'm like, what? What? What are you trying to convey to me, right? Am I okay? Am I okay? I don't have any cancer or anything anywhere. Do I? Do I?
Right.
What are you seeing?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were like sniffing me differently too. It was like they just knew
Mm.
something was off.
Hmm.
And I was so grateful for that. I felt like they just, like I said, they gave me that extra push to really get to the bottom of it.
I had a young lady out. She just wanted to sit with Dakota one day, and we just grabbed our chairs and our tea, and we sat under his run-in. And she's battling leukemia, and he scanned her from
Mhm.
toe to knee to hip to
Mhm.
belly to chest to throat to ear to crown chakra and then all the way down the other. And he would not leave her alone. He was
Wow.
leching and just, he gave her so much love and really grounded her, but he knew he
Yeah.
wanted nothing to do with me and everything to do with her.
Wow. That's incredible. They do now. They absolutely do. I always find it interesting too, like even on a typical day, if it's just sort of like a down day, you're dealing with something, just like the ups and downs of life. It's like, I swear they know. Like they feel our energy when we're up, when we're down. I have another dog, a English bulldog, who is
I
the
love that
funniest.
dog.
He's the funniest animal I've ever had. He's not typical of the breed. He's bouncing off the walls every second of the day. But he has this way of like making me laugh like no other animal has. And it's always at this moment where I'm like, yeah, I needed that. Thank you.
Oh,
Like lightens the mood. And you're like, oh my God, how did you know? He's so,
he's like, Mom, I'm your comedian slash
yeah,
clown,
yes,
I'm gonna lift you right out of this. Oh,
100%. Yeah,
he
he's
is a
the
cutie. I
best.
love all the pictures you post on Facebook with him. He
Every
just
time I
has a
meet people, they're
personality.
like, your dogs are like, like little celebrities. I'm like, I know, that's all I post is my animals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, love it.
Yeah.
What are the biggest challenges you faced in growing the Human Animal Alliance, and what keeps you pushing forward even when things get tough?
The toughest thing is really the fundraising aspect. And I'm so glad I started the organization here in Wellington because it is such a animal centric kind of community because of all the horses here. And there's a lot of wealth in Wellington seasonally, so it was a good place to start. But it is tedious, having meeting after meeting explaining what we're all about. And for some people, it resonates right away and they're really excited. Other people don't really get it. Some people circle back 2 years later and want to do something. So I never really know, like, as I'm talking to people, um, like how deeply is it resonating? But
Mm.
I love having the conversations because I believe so deeply in what we're doing. But it's that constant grind of like, keeping the money coming in that can be a little tedious. Um, so yeah, I would say that's the hardest thing. And I didn't have any background in fundraising, before I started this. We also have planned several events, and all of our events have been so much fun. Like everyone's had a great time, but you look at the numbers at the end and you're like, oh, it would have been nice if like for all the man hours that went in, if the bottom line was a little bit higher. But,
Sure.
I think that's just the nature of running a nonprofit. It seems like everybody that I talk to, that's kind of the biggest challenge.
Does your website have a donate button?
It does. Yep, right on the
Okay.
homepage.
All right.
Hmm.
So, to our viewers, if you are interested in donating or just learning more about Jackie's uh, Human Animal Alliance, please click on that QR code that's floating around the screen, and it'll take you right out there to her website and check it out for sure.
Thank
Yeah.
you for that. Yeah, and if people have questions, there's also a contact form there. If they want to know
Perfect.
anything, I'm happy to talk to anybody about, what we do.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Thank you. You've worked with so many incredible animals and people.
Mhm.
If you could go back and give your younger self just
Mm,
one piece of advice about the journey you were about to take, what
mm.
would that be?
Wow. As I look back on my life, I was always so connected to animals, but I don't think I knew, like, in the moment, like, how significant they were going to be to my story. And so I don't know that it would be advice so much as just awareness of like I wish I had journaled more things, like stories or moments or different things. Like I can talk about every animal I've ever known and just a general, lessons they taught me or different things. But I think if I had written down more, it would be something that I would love to go back and read now. There were things that happened 30 plus years ago that were really meaningful that I probably don't remember as vividly as I wish I did. So it's something that I'm actually starting to do more of now, with the animals in my life, but there was a lot from childhood.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thank you for that piece of advice because in many of my work groups that I conduct online, it's my prevailing theme about journaling. Please journal, please journal, please journal. You can work things out. It's a great place to go back and reflect on.
Yeah.
So I thank you for that piece of advice. And I hope our viewers are listening and taking heed because it's powerful. Yeah, but good
I
for
think,
you. You're doing it now.
yeah, I think it's one of those things like you just assume you're going to remember everything and then you realize, no, that's not true, or at least not
And
in vivid
wait.
detail.
It gets worse when you get older.
Yeah.
I probably got 20 years on you, and I'm like, I really. truly thought I'd remember that, and I didn't.
Didn't,
Simple
yeah,
things. So,
right.
amen to that.
Yeah.
Oh, Jackie, what's next for the Human Animal Alliance? Are there any new projects, partnerships, or goals on the horizon that you're especially excited about and want to share with us?
Thanks. We're in our process right now of evaluating who's going to be receiving grants for 2025. So we're so excited about that. I have also written a TED Talk about human animal connection, and I'm applying to TED events right now. I am so excited about that because the message, it's coming from my heart, but it ties in so perfectly with what HAA does. So if I can get on the TED stage by the end of this year, that will be incredible for many reasons. So it's kind of one of my biggest goals right now. But
You will.
yeah, I think so. I can feel it's coming. So
Good. You will.
yeah.
When I get on there,
Yes,
yes,
it will happen. I got to manifest
yes.
it. So that's super exciting. But yeah, I mean, we have so many applications for funding right now, and that's been great because in the beginning, it was like when you're new, we'd be reaching out to nonprofits like, "Hey, you look great. Do you want to apply?" And now these applications are just coming to us right and left because the word's gotten out about who we are, which makes me so happy. So we
Mm,
have a ton of choices. It's hard in a way going through the apps because you want to do something for everybody. Obviously, we can't, and we like to do a smaller number of large grants. So we've got some exciting ones coming. I can't announce them quite yet, but for people that follow
okay.
us in the coming months, they will see. And there are going to be some really good projects this year.
Well, I can thank you, and I truly can resonate on that level of when you're beginning. And in that vein, I would like to thank you because you took a chance with me 3 years ago. The Backyard Horse Enthusiast was a newborn, like literally, an infant. And you did. You agreed beautifully, lovingly, happily to be a guest on my show while I was cutting my teeth
Yeah.
doing this, and here we are 3 years later, and that I'm, if I can say it, almost like a mom, I'm so proud of
Oh,
you.
thank you. Well,
i
likewise.
I thank you. I never doubted for a moment. I
Yeah.
just didn't. You had so much passion. And you know what, guys? I'm going to link that first interview. It's going to be up floating around. So just click on that video and you can see what Human Animal Alliance was 3 years ago and where it is now, and compare for yourself. It's truly taken on a life of its own for
Yeah.
sure. Jackie, we are coming to a beautiful end to this interview, and I just want to thank you so very much for sharing your time, your heart, and your mission with us today. The work that you're doing through the Human Animal Alliance is not only inspiring, it's changing lives in such a
Mhm.
tangible, compassionate way. Your insights into the depth of the human animal bond, the healing power of connection, and what's on the horizon for animal assisted work are conversations the world needs now more than ever.
Mhm.
And for those of you that are watching, I encourage you to explore more about Jackie's work at the Human Animal Alliance. Click on that QR code. Whether you're someone who has felt the silent wisdom of an animal, or you're just beginning to discover that connection, this is a movement that reminds us we were never meant to walk this path alone. And until next time, thank you for joining me here on the Backyard Horse Enthusiast. And remember, the most powerful connections often speak the loudest without ever saying a word. And with that, I thank you so very much, Jackie, for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Same. We'll talk soon. And I'll see you probably this winter.
Yes, you will.
All right. Be well, my friend.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye now.
Talk soon.
Animals have been a source of life-changing connection for me from the time I was very young. I struggled a lot as a child because I was very introverted. Being young and struggling with self-esteem issues, the horses made me feel powerful. They made me feel graceful. It was like they brought energy into my life. I get emotional talking about it. It's like they brought something to me that people couldn't. The Human Animal Alliance is a nonprofit that exists to empower other charities by providing financial support and advocacy. We're like a conduit between existing charities that are doing an amazing job and animal-loving donors who are looking for a place to put their charitable dollars. Every grant that we give goes to an organization that values human-animal connection as much as we do.
Tomorrow's Rainbow is a special place where children, teens, and families who are coping with grief, loss, and trauma can come to heal from their adversity. The partnership with the Human Animal Alliance, I think, was the universe speaking to us.
We cast a wide net and search for some of the best nonprofits out there that the general public might not have heard of. The impact that we've had on our charity partners is that we take care of the funding aspect so that they can focus on the day-to-day, actually running the programming.
All right, so I'm going to take him, and you are going to just follow what I say. We have been able to bring our horses into underserved communities to be able to provide emotional support to children that could not make it here to our mini ranch. The Human Animal Alliance gets it. They do an amazing job of advocacy and vetting the programs that they work with, and they're literally healing our world one human-animal connection at a time.
We're that trusted partner, that people can come to and say, okay, we know that you will use this money well and it will be put in the hands of people who are doing amazing things. I founded the Human Animal Alliance because I know from my own life how much animals have done for me. There are so many people in this world who have suffered far greater trauma than I ever have, and I just know that if they've done for me what they've done for me, how much could they help somebody who's been through far worse?